the Financial Survival Network, helping you to survive and thrive in the new economy. Get your free financial survival toolkit and find out where to buy gold and silver safely at great prices. Sign up at financialsurvivalnetwork.com. This is the Financial Survival Network.
1490 WGCH. This is Kerry Lutz. You're listening to the Financial Survival Network, which is brought to you by Miles Franklin. Been in business selling gold since 1980. Go to milesfranklin.com or call them at 800-822-8080 and get a free quote. I'm often asked, and I often wonder, what age can somebody become aware of how corrupt the monetary system is and how gold and silver the only real money that there's ever been? Recently, I found out that the answer is 16. Now, I think somebody could become financially aware earlier than that, but in this case, I've got Elijah Johnson on with me. He's the 16-year-old that I believe is far more intelligent than the Ben Bernank. He's been interviewing up a storm, doing a great job, and he's back here. Hey, Elijah, how are you?
Great. Thanks for having me on, Kerry.
We're happy to have you back. You've been on quite an adventure, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been interviewing a bunch of people. I just interviewed Mike Rivero, and he really did a great interview, and I'd recommend definitely taking a look at that. And I also interviewed a great guy. He's the founder of the Financial Survival Network. And I interviewed him twice. His name is Kerry Lutz, and you definitely take a look at those as well.
Hey, well, I'm flattered you think that. So I wanted to talk about your work, about what you're doing, because you've been interviewing a lot of people. What type of reception are you getting? You're posting primarily on YouTube, right?
Yeah, I have about almost 300 subscribers. I've been getting great feedback. Of course, there's occasional people who think I'm just spreading propaganda, but the real propaganda is coming from the mainstream media. But yeah, I've just been getting great feedback. Many people are becoming fans of my channel. So yeah.
Hey, that's so great to hear. And you certainly deserve that success because you're doing something that most people your age, they're more concerned about dating, about what clothes they're wearing, what they're going to do for prom or whatever it is. They're not really well grounded in what's going on in the financial world. As far as who you've interviewed, how many interviews have you done so far?
I think it's somewhere around like 25.
Wow, that's pretty good. And besides me, who do you think was your best interview to date?
Definitely you, but then besides you, I would say...
You don't have to kiss up to me. It's okay.
Okay. I would definitely say G. Edward Griffin and Mike Rivero were very insightful. G. Edward Griffin talks about why the Federal Reserve is banking cartel, and then Mike Rivero, he talks about the economy and the Federal Reserve. But one thing that was kind of unusual that we don't usually talk about because it doesn't have much to do with finance, but it has some to do with it, was global warming. And he thinks it's a conspiracy. I respect his view on that. And I thought it's very insightful if you watch the interview.
I'm definitely going to take a look at it. I agree with him on global warming. It's totally a construct. You just have to go back to the Middle Age, mini ice age, followed by the medieval warming period. MWP, I think it was.
Yeah.
You see that temperature fluctuates. Normally, temperatures on planets around the universe have gone up. So they don't have carbon dioxide. They don't have man-made global warming, yet they go up. So to think that man could possibly be responsible for something this complex, I'm totally in doubt, and I haven't seen the evidence yet. As far as what you've been doing, interviewing people, a lot of noteworthy people, what have you really learned from the experience?
Well, like I said, the global warming, a lot of people have different views on when they think this economic collapse is going to happen and how it's going to happen or how big it's going to be when it happens. I know when I talked to you, you had the same response. So a lot of I just interviewed Ron Hara, and he said that the debt and all these things are going exponential, but it doesn't mean it's going to end very soon. It just looks exponential on a long-term chart, and it doesn't mean it has to end very soon. So this thing could go on for maybe 10 or 20 more years. I mean, I think it'll probably collapse within the next 5 years. Definitely they could kick the can down the road, but when they do that, they're just building up more debt, and then the final collapse will definitely just be worse than if they just let it collapse now.
And that is the final analysis, is that it's the ultimate act of hubris for these men, whether they're in the Federal Reserve, whatever group, the financial elitists of the world, to think that they can stave off the inevitable and stop what is law from happening. That's the ultimate in hubris. What is your personal view, though, of the continuing economic turmoil that the world's experiencing?
One of the things that I talk about in one of the videos, just a solo video that I made called Debt Crisis, I said in the US, we have so much debt. Europe is a big deal, but if you're living in the US, it's not like we're not in a big problem in the United States right now. The United States has 16 trillion of national debt. There's no way we can pay this off. Politicians say, well, we could pay down the debt. No, there is no way we can pay off the debt. So the only two options is print our debt away just by printing money and then paying off the debt. And then our dollar would crash and all your savings would be gone. Or we could just default and then the US credit rating would be completely, nobody would trust us anymore. So there's going to be a crisis either way, and you have to prepare for it.
I'm not sure that anybody trusts us now either. They just have no choice but following the U.S. down the drain. Do you still believe that precious metals are the only way to protect your wealth in the event of such a collapse?
Well, I wouldn't say it's the only way, but it's definitely the least riskiest. Basically, gold and silver have been money for over 5,000 years, and they've never gone to zero. And people say, well, the dollar is a safe haven. No, the dollar, it's just that we value everything in the dollar, that it seems like the dollar is staying constant. If we valued everything in gold, then it would seem like gold was staying constant and everything else was fluctuating. I'm not a financial advisor, obviously, but my opinion is gold and silver are the least riskiest assets. And if you want something to protect yourself and the purchasing power of your asset will grow, there's nothing better than gold and silver.
I heartily agree with you. It took me a bit longer than you to figure that out. More personal note. So your family is watching you do these interviews. They're watching you become a bit of a media personality. What's been their reaction?
Well, they've been really enjoying my interviews. And for a long time, because I'm a good reader, but not a really fast reader, it's been hard to read a lot of stuff for school. By interviewing people for my economics class, it kind of lessens the amount of reading I have to do.
Well, I have a suggestion for you. They're not a sponsor of the show yet, but I hope that one day they'll become one. But Audible.com, there's dozens of major economic treatises that used to be called books on tape. Now they're downloads, MP3s, Adam Smith, Milton Friedman, a lot of great masters. And I listen to them, although I think I'm through a lot of the big treatises that they had. They've also got a series by the late Louis Rukeyser, who was a PBS show host for decades, and he interviewed many people, and he's done a history of the money supply and a history of economics. So Audible.com, there's a lot of great texts and regular books on there that have been transcribed from written format to audio. Each one runs, depending if it's a full-length book, about 8 hours, and really great thing to do. You can listen to them anytime. You'll really profit from it. There's actually courses on a lot of different things. There's this thing called the Modern Scholar series. There's a great course on World War I, on many, many different areas. And I've taken them one on rhetoric, which I highly recommend for your young mind. It will make a lasting impact on you. And think about those audio books because they're really great. And they're great for entertainment. If there's a book, a John Grisham book, you don't feel like reading it, you do the audio, and you can speed them up on your iPod to double speed, or Audible's own application will let you listen to it about 1.5 times, which I find ideal. Anyway, didn't mean to get off the topic, but future plans. What are you planning to do with what you're learning now and your newfound media notoriety?
Well, last time I said I was thinking of possibly becoming a financial advisor. That's still definitely a possibility that I'm thinking of. But now more and more that I'm doing the interviewing and getting better at interviewing, I'm thinking of maybe getting some sort of job kind of like yours. So you're definitely one of the people who has inspired me to do these interviews.
Well, that's great. I'm really happy to hear that. You are going to become our first virtual intern on FSN. Maybe you'll come and visit us. Also, Freedom Fest. If you go to freedomfest.com, you'll see gathering of libertarian, freedom-loving people taking place in Las Vegas from July 11th through the 14th. Guys like Peter Schiff are going to be there. Mark Skousen, he's the founder of it. Rand Paul, Steve Forbes, Stephen Moore from the Wall Street Journal, Doug Casey, a whole host of people. So if you can get your parents to put you in my able custody, you can work for us there. It would be great to have you. I know it's a stretch, but we'd really love for you to come. I think you need to be there.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
Anyway, Elijah, it looks like you have an exciting future ahead. Keep working this. Pretty soon you'll be interviewing top-notch people out there, better people than I can get on the show. And you're really going to go places. Just stick with it. Don't get frustrated. As my friend Cliff Ravenscraft, podcastanswerman.com says, you build your audience one listener at a time. You build your audience one YouTube viewer at a time. And if you send your interviews to us, we'll get them posted with financialsurvivalnetwork.com. If you want to hear this interview with Elijah, as well as the other one we did, and many hundreds of other interviews, just go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com, sign up for the newsletter, sign up for the free financial survival toolkit. Hey, Elijah, thanks for being on, and we will talk with you soon. And to find out more about you, what's your site now?
My YouTube channel is youtube.com/unconventionalfin. And then you can like me on the Facebook page, unconventionalfin. So it's facebook.com/unconventionalfin. So everything's unconventional FIN.
Elijah, good luck. We'll talk to you soon.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much for caring.